Daniel had always been a dreamer, but more than that, he was a talker. Ever since he was young, he believed that sharing his plans out loud would somehow make them real, that telling people what he was going to achieve would give him the motivation to do it. And for a while, it worked, at least on the surface. Friends would admire his ambition, and he felt a thrill every time someone said, "Wow, that sounds amazing." At 28, Daniel had one goal: to launch his own coffee brand. Not just any brand, but a line of ethically sourced, community-driven cafes that served as creative hubs for local artists. It was a beautiful idea, one he had been quietly building for 3 years. But then came the pitch event. It wasn't required. No investors had asked him to speak, but Daniel couldn't help himself. The excitement bubbled inside him, and before the prototype cafe was even built, he stood up at a community entrepreneurship gathering and gave a passionate 5-minute talk about exactly what he was working on. The room lit up with applause. People came up to him after, saying things like, "This will change everything, and I've never heard something so meaningful." Daniel floated home that night, high on praise. The next morning, his inbox was full, not with investors, but with curious acquaintances, local business owners, and even a few influencers asking when the cafe would open, where it would be, if they could visit, if they could partner, if they could collaborate. Some even started posting about it online. Excited for Daniel's new cafe coming soon. Game changer. He hadn't signed a lease. He hadn't finalized his supplier. He hadn't even completed the financial model. Suddenly, he was cornered by his own words. The pressure mounted. People kept asking, "When's the launch?" and "Why is it taking so long?" That original joy was replaced by anxiety. What had once been a labor of love now felt like a ticking clock. Instead of working in silence, he scrambled to meet public expectations. He rushed into decisions, signed a lease on a space that wasn't quite right, cut corners on equipment, and over-promised on delivery dates. The soft opening came, and with it, problems. The cafe wasn't ready. The menu was half-developed. Staff training was rushed. Worst of all, the vibe, the soul of the cafe felt forced. Critics were kind but not forgiving. Ambitious but unpolished, one review read. Feels like it opened too soon. He felt like a fraud. The very people he had hoped to impress now pitied him. 2 months later, the cafe closed. It wasn't a total failure. He still had his passion, his contacts, and some lessons learned. But the truth cut deep. He had spoken too soon. He realized that silence isn't about secrecy, it's about protection, not just of the plan, but of the energy behind it. Talking gives a temporary dopamine hit, but silence gives space for roots to grow. Daniel took a step back. He stopped sharing every move. He went back to the drawing board, quietly, slowly, wisely. 2 years later, when he reopened, this time in a smaller space with a tighter concept and a fully trained team, he didn't tell anyone until the doors were already open. And this time, people didn't say, "Sounds amazing." They said, "This is amazing. Talk less, do more, let success make the noise."